Okay, hello. I did not know how to do this, so um, there was no audio. Now that I've done this the third time, I figured out how to get audio in there. Pretty cool. Appreciate it. And my plan was to cast lots on the screen, which I did in the video with no audio. And there it goes. Cool. Test. Hello, me. Cool. All right. So now I want to go through that. So what I had done is there's a website that I built called Casting Lots, and it cycles through the Bible out of 31,000 verses, verses, and I pulled John 7:27. And I want to study that. So let's dive in. Let's take a look at it. Okay, cool. Interesting. Zoom in on me. Okay. So John 7:27. They're basically, you have a crowd here, and this is their reason. This is a reason for rejecting you, Mashiach. I prayed before in the video, and you gave me this verse, which I'm really thankful for, Mashiach. I want to study with you. I don't care to do this without you. And I love that you gave me such a meaty verse. But this one, we know the place and where he is from. However, Mashiach, when he's coming, no one will know where he's from. And so it's grounds for rejecting you. And it is a gut punch to me that John includes this. They didn't even really know where you were from. That's the thing that John includes, and he plays fast and loose with this. It seems like he's doing this because he constructed his gospel, last in historical line. First, he's one of your inner three who got to witness, your greatest works and had intimate access to you. And Peter, he kind of set the pace for the churches, for the communities. And John Mark received orally from Peter, and that's the Gospel of Mark and Matthew and Luke. They had to structure their narratives around that authoritative kernel because it traced back to Peter and eyewitness. And John had space and time, and he didn't do it till he was old. And we never got to hear what his brother, Yaakov, James, the son of Zebedee, we never got to hear what his gospel would sound like, or what his voice sounded like. You know his voice. We never got to hear his take on you said. He got killed. He was the first apostle to be killed in your name. And John is writing as an older man. Makes me want to cry, sure. You could take somebody like John, you call him a son of thunder, but his brother would say, they suggested genocide, in that Samaritan village. Do you want us to call out fire from heaven? And to take those teenage knuckleheads and just transform them, and your spirit would hold it, John. When I read the letter of John, the Gospel of John, it's just like a different person. He's a different person. He's not who he was when you called him. I want to be like that. I want to be a different person. I want my anger and I'll let it go away. And here's this John, like he's obsessed with you. He loved you. In his old age, like he's going to the Samaritans. He's in Ephesus. They have a massive population, demographically in Ephesus. And their population at varying times in the Roman Empire rivaled the Jewish population throughout the empire. And he has this bit in his gospel where he's trying to appeal to the Samaritans. I think it explains why sometimes he uses the phrase Jew or Judean, someone from Judah, why that tends to have the tinge of Jerusalem, because that's a sting for a lot of Samaritans, the Shomanim, but then also he's going to be addressing a lot of exilic Jewish groups. In John 7, has people saying, is he Mashiach? Is Yeshua the Messiah? And we know from John later on that the reason he wrote this was so that people would go on, would know that you're a Mashiach, that you're a Mashiach. But he doesn't let things get settled like that. Like he doesn't interject at these points. And he allows the confusion of your identity to be in our face. And this one, I think I might have done that. I might have seen you and said, it's not Mashiach. There's this idea that we know where he comes from. And I think it's kind of, John is a little bit clever here, kind of a smartass, because they'll reject you because they said, no one knows where Mashiach comes from. We know where he comes from. But then later on, they're going to say in John 7:42, we can look at that. In John 7:42, they're going to say, don't they say that out from the seed of David and from Bethlehem, the village where he lived, where David lived, will come Mashiach. The Mashiach will come from Bethlehem. So in other words, it's like, well, the reason they're rejecting is because we know where the Messiah comes from. He comes from Bethlehem. But a few verses before in the crowds, no one knows where Mashiach comes from. We know where he comes from. So, and they're wrong on both fronts, because John doesn't spend time correcting it. It's also like, this is very late. He writes so that people will go on. Some of the tense is that people go on believing that Yeshua is Mashiach. And so he's already, it seems like his writing is at the very least in dialectic. It's in it's conversant with the other Gospels. And so it doesn't need to go into it. And he actually is very clever. He maintains cleverness even in the writing of his letters. And, he just lets questions stand there, man. He draws out all these lines of division. Who are the people of God? When are the times we're supposed to meet? Where are we supposed to meet? Where are we supposed to worship? What's worship supposed to be like? Who is the Messiah? I loved it, in 727, it says no one knows where he's from. But we know where this guy's from. We know where this guy's from, but they don't. I don't know where you're from. You said no one knows. You don't know where I'm coming from or where I'm going. Where are you from? What was it like for you when you were the Mimra, when you were the Word, like John writes about? What was the experience like coming here, becoming flesh? What was that like for you? I don't understand how you did it. I don't understand it. This is the Mimra, the Shekhinah. If you just left the throne and the Shekhinah was absent in flesh, in man, in human, tinting among us. Like, a question is A similar question being in the Torah is when the Shekinah comes to the tabernacle, is the presence of God anywhere else? In some sense, the kavod fills the glory fills the whole arts, the seen realm. But in another sense, you're just in that tabernacle. I wasn't made. I wasn't made for some fallen version of you. I wish you'd walk into the door. I wish you'd walk into the door. I'd rather hear away from me silence. I don't want you to be far off. I want you to be close. No one knows where he's from. Nobody knows where he's from. In some truths, in some sense, this is true. Nobody knows where Mashiach is from. In Arkin Logos, in the beginning, was the word. Nobody was there. Already when there's a beginning, you're there. You know? Nobody knows what that's like. Nobody knows where you're from. Did it make you sad? Does it make you sad? It is so mysterious, you know. You come from Shemayim, Mina Shemayim, you come from the heavens, but then you perceive the heavens. You come from the arts, you come from the seen realm, you come from the unseen realm, you perceive it. And it's like, you fulfill this. So it's like, well, we know where he's from, but Mashiach, you know, I guess these people they're addressing, verse 27 is addressing people with the mystical aspect of Mashiach, probably from Micah, right? I would imagine it's from Micah. You know, isn't that right, Micah? Maybe I'm wrong in that. Where it says his comings and goings are from the beginning. You know, his comings and goings are from the beginning. I'm going to check that because goings, I think it's like a 2, right? It's like a 5-2. Okay, so if let's take a look right now at Micah 5:2. Veta, there you go. So we do have this idea. It's funny because I don't know if this verse was hovering around in John's head, but we have in this verse a brilliant combination of these notions, actually. Veta, you, Bethlehem, Ephrata, okay, Ephrata, the area, the surrounding area of Bethlehem, that's where Rachel died. Tza'ir, small, Lehiyot, Be'alfei, small among thousands or clans of Yehuda, of Judah. Mimcha, okay, Mimcha li, from you, for me, Yetze, will come forth. Lehiyot Moshel, one who will be a ruler, B'Yisrael, the ruler in Israel. And then this is it. Motza'otav, in his origins, his coming out, the idea of where it came from, his proceedings, that's what we're talking about in John. Mikedem, Mime Olam, from they're from ancient times, from the days of eternity, the days of concealment. Because Olam means the vanishing point, which you don't know. And so we have in this verse, in Micah 5:2, we have both arguments, actually, and they're wrong about Yeshua of Shem Natzchat. They were wrong about him then. They're still wrong about him. And it's funny that John doesn't go through the trouble to, I don't know why. Did he think that this is just, there's like a satanic edge to it? That people are always going to misrepresent you. Is it because that's what the servant, that's what you came to fulfill, and that's what is going to happen in reality because of how you came and how screwed up we are? Nivzei v'chadal ishim, that he's despised and rejected by men. And they're going to find a reason to do it. They're going to find a reason to hide their face from him. And I just think it's, I wish I could, I don't want to hide my face from him, Shiv. So in 727, we have that no one knows where he'll come from, which matches that. This idea that he would come from the concealment of eternity in ancient times. It's like, we know where he's from, so he can't be Mashiach because no one knows where Mashiach's his origins are and his comings are. It's like, nobody knows. Like, John has already told us, like, that's true of this guy. They're wrong about him right here. They're right about the qualification, and they're wrong about applying it to Yeshua. And then, God, I love you. Man, I wish people would believe in you. I wish people would follow you. I wish I would follow you more heartily. I pray right now that you would make people want to know you. Make people want to read your word. Make people passionate about you read your word. Make them want to know the contents of your word. To move differently, to live differently. Please. We're dying. Your bride is dying. And so we go there, and then we jump to verse 42, and then it quotes the scriptures. Don't the writings say that from the seed of David, from Bethlehem, the village of David, will come the Mashiach? And so we have this, they're aware of it, and the idea that it's the Graphita writings and that it's the Jews who are saying this is important because a lot of times the Apostle John is recording Yeshua, the fulfillment of the roles that Mashiach took on within the first 5 books within the Torah. And that has a wider shot. It has the potentiality to draw in Samaritans, draw in people, because the Samaritans today, they rejected the other writings. And so he was presenting, it's like become Jew to the Jew, become Greek to the Greek, become Shomranim to Shomranim, become Samaritan to Samaritan. And most times you have Yeshua being depicted as the fulfiller of the Torah, and the books of the Torah. And he shows he highlights the schisms and brokenness of the people of Judah that Yeshua came to. And he's already told us he's going to highlight that, right? Like his prologue, he says he came to his own. He came to his own people and they didn't receive him. And this is highlighting that hey, look, him coming to his own and them not receiving him is a self-prophecy, and I'm recording that. I'm showing you how he came to his own and how they applied their standards and they didn't receive him. They applied their standards. They applied Micah 5:2 wrongly. Like he met their standards that they were using to judge him by. And they still misjudged him. Like having this standard of what Mashiach would be like, having that right standard doesn't help you apply it. They had misapplied it. They applied it wrong. And it's not an accident, I don't think, that this is the fame. This chapter is famed for another verse. And we should look at it. Do not judge by appearances, but rather judge with righteous judgment. Do not judge by appearances, but rather judge with righteous judgment. Let's see. Gosh, dude. And it's... He divides the crowds, man. Some say he's Mashiach in verse 41, verse 40. They say he's the prophet, the Hanavi, the one that's prophesied in the Torah. When Moshe speaks of someone that will rise up and carry out his role. They talk about him going among the Jews in the exiles. This chapter is ripe with all kinds of divisions. When Mashiach comes, will he not perform signs of this man, will he? And the Parashim, the Pharisees, are hearing about this. And yeah. Verse 28, and Yeshua cried out in the temple, teaching, you both know me and you know where I am from. And I have not come from myself, but the one who sent me is true, whom you do not know. I know him because I am from him and he sent me. Both know me and you know where I'm from. Yeah, I mean, what precedes it is verse 24, do not judge according to outward appearance, but judge according to righteous judgment. We judge by outer appearance, we judge in a reductive way, in a way that's misguided, small-minded, and we miss Mashiach with our own standards. We could even have the right standards and we miss him. We miss you. Man. I love this, man. You got right where you gotta go. Grace right there. Jesus. She's always. It's Galil. It's this idea that he's from Galilee. You know, they hated Galilee, and it's according to prophecy that a light would shine in Galil, and Isaiah, end of 8, beginning of 9, depending on your Hebrew or English version. Let's see here. Eretz Yapid, they'll look into the land, they'll stare, and behold, only distress, the chashicha, darkness, me'uf, gloom, tzukah, anguish, va'afla, va'afela, utter darkness, menudah, driven away, they'll be driven away into darkness. Now it does say this, that kilo mu'af la'asher mutzak, because nevertheless it will not be the case that gloom is for those which are in distressed for her, like the time Hagashon, like the times in the past. Hekal, he made light outside. He made light in Zebulun, the land of Zebulun, the outside Naphtali. These are, these are tribes and their lands. The Acharon in the last days, Hichbid, he will make heavy, which is also glorify. That's important. Derech Hayam, the way by the sea. Ever Hayarden, beyond the Jordan. Galil, Hagoim, Galilee of the Gentiles. You want to find out of the Jewish people a place that is associated with the Gentiles and barely makes it in. They get looked down on as Galil. And so this idea that Mashiach would identify with Galilee from the most royal line, but he makes his home among the despised, the looked down on. Ha'am ha'olchim b'choshech, the people walking in darkness. Ha'ra'u or gadol, they've seen this great light. Yoshvei be'eretz tzalmavet, dwelling in the land of death, the land of the shadow of death, actually, because in the north, they're close to the Gentiles, they get influenced by them, but then also the threat of them coming down militaristically is always a problem. The threat comes from the north, the shadow of death. those people there, Or Naga Alehim, on them a light has dawned. Yeah. And it's Mashiach. And so, John is drawing out these tensions. Gosh, I bet he loved you. You changed him so much, man. I want to love you like that. I want to love you like that, Mashiach. I want to love you like that. So there's like, why did he come from Galilee? Well, he came from Galilee because of the writings. He had to come from Bethlehem because of the writings. You know, Matthew says, hey, even his stint in Egypt, you know, he needed to fulfill the writings. Out of Egypt I call my son, Moshe. Yeah, I love it. Lord, where are you from? I want to go to where you are. Chef, please bless us. I don't even know. That's godly hoop. Maybe I'll die. I'll be deleted off of YouTube. I hope this made you happy, Yeshua. You are from eternity past. You are for the reject. You're for the outcast. And the downtrodden. The people under a curse who don't know the Torah. You're for them. Please be for me. Please be for me. Please be for me, Mashiach. Yeah, if anybody watching this sees the context, they're like, yeah, this is something good, I want to do this, like, let me know. And, you know, we can cast again or do a different passage. So, yeah.